did this crazy cover of this baby screaming and, you know, doing like a Gene Simmons thing on the cover, to be like just outrageous, want to be outrageous. And that cover was voted in Rolling Stones magazines as the worst metal cover of all time.
Just for the record.
That is for the record. And the thing that's so great, you know, about that is the other, like, that's like number one, and number two on this list was Anthrax Fistful of Metal.
No kidding. Is the worst, because did you ever look at that? The fist is backwards.
Backwards, yes. And and number three, I'm not kidding, was Black Sabbath Paranoid, with the guy running around in his underwear.
Oh.
So that's a high company. I said, wow.
You went, yeah, you were, I was going to say, you're with them.
That was them.
Those are some bad covers.
That's some bad covers.
And we are back with the guys from Sunless Sky, both Juan and Ed. And Ed, we didn't really get into too much as far as what happened there after the Mystic thing. Mm-hmm. So Mystic, basically what we did touch on was that you're signed by Massacre Records, which is a European label that signed a whole bunch of you guys, including Juan's band at the time. And you did the Plot Thickens, and you guys tore it, and you guys are pretty popular in Germany and a little shocked by it and everything. Mm-hmm. So how does that, I mean, at that point in time, I mean, aren't you pretty much thinking, this is it? This is what I'm going to be doing?
Yeah, I was a young dude when that happened. I was 19 when all the, the touring and the record deal went down. I was 19. I had joined the band when I was like 15, 16, somewhere around there, So like that was my high school band, and it went through many lineup changes. The demo that got them the recognition was the Come Die With Us demo, that was what the record company got. The Plot Thickens album was supposed to be like a continuation of that, which it was, Like I said, we had 2 demos before that, but nobody really heard those because we never really released those.
Right.
I think we did the second one, but maybe we sold 5, maybe. Yeah.
Right. But, Mom, sister.
It was like it was red cardboard is what it was.
Right.
A hand-drawn thing on there, yeah. But, after Mystic, I found these guys, they were another band that was, playing the same circuit, that we were, the same Cleveland scene. They were called Xevious. And I hooked up with those guys, and there was another guitar player in the band at the time. We kept the name Xevious and all that, did a few shows, but like within a year, probably even less than a year, we ended up changing the name to Darkseed. We did, some lineup changes there. We went down to 1 guitar player. And I took over, the writing of everything. And we called the band Darkseed at that time, and I did that for, from 93 to probably about 98.
5 years.
Around there. Yeah, I did that for 5 years, as long as I could in, the local scene with grunge and how everything changed in that time period,
That's exactly when it all happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what ends up with that?
After that, like you said, I figured, this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life, And then, with the Darkseed stuff, it was like, nobody cared about metal really in that time period. It didn't matter how good of a musician you were or, anything like that. The only way to make money in that time period was to play covers of what was on the radio at that time, like Bush,
So like being a cover band that was popular playing covers.
Yeah, well, of what was popular on the radio at that time, and I didn't like doing that. I really didn't. I was in Blizzard of Oz for a minute, and I really enjoyed that. That was the Ozzy Sabbath.
Randy Rhoads is your thing.
I grew up learning how to play on that stuff, But and then after the Dark Seed stuff, which was like around 90, like I said, 97, 98, somewhere around there, I was trying to make money by doing these cover bands that I really wasn't happy doing that, because it wasn't what I liked doing. I was really doing it just to make money, and I wasn't happy.
Right.
And that's not why you play music. You got to be happy for one thing.
Yeah, right. Well, no, you do.
So I ended up quitting the whole scene, everything, because it was just so different, You
quit the scene, but you didn't quit music.
No, yeah. I still wrote, still recorded, still created, but I didn't sell it. Doing shows was just out of the question. I wasn't doing shows. So I got to do what I wanted to do with absolutely no pressure. I didn't have to worry about, got to sell so many of these to make up for the money I spent on this or whatever, I didn't put anything out. I gave it away, to anybody, which I still do to this day,
Right.
But back then it was like physical.
Yeah, you just put a lot of your stuff up on Facebook. You put a lot of your stuff up on social media. And just say, here it is. Enjoy. Matter of fact, that's exactly what you'll say. Enjoy.
Exactly what I say. Enjoy. My famous one is, here's something I never finished. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
anyways.
right. Yeah. There's a lot of it up. You put a lot of that stuff up through the years.
Mm-hmm.
And so what snaps you out of that eventually? I mean, like, what brings you out of that? What at what point do you say, all right, I'm ready to come back to the scene?
I was real late getting on the technology train, getting a computer and all that stuff, Facebook, I think, had like just came out not too long before I got a computer and stuff, And I was really under the impression that, like the mystic stuff, that all that was forgotten about. I was really under that impression for a very long time, especially me personally. I just figured everybody forgot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Out of sight, out of mind type thing, And when I got on the internet, I started like seeing mystic stuff, from like people that like for example, that happened in 92. The first thing I came across, like back in 2010, was some 16-year-old kid. I came across him and he was telling me how he covers a tune from the album, and it was really weird. That album's older than he is.
An American? Was it an American kid, or was this from overseas?
It was a Belgium. He was from Belgium. Yeah. And he was telling me, that his band plays, a cover of a tune that I can specifically remember being 15 years old, sitting on my bed, coming up with those riffs.
Unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, it is. It really.
How great is that?
That's what the beauty of all this kind of stuff is, really. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
everything is coming, especially with like me coming back in bands and stuff, and. Yeah, it's sometimes people, like last night, I was telling you about that guy that, every once in a while somebody will come up to me at a show or something and tell me something like really deep.
Right.
Yeah. Last night there was a guy.
You changed me or stuff like that.
Something that like your playing or your writing connects with them on a personal level.
And what's funny about that? I can only imagine, because you guys are also big stars and fans, not stars, but big fans of rock stars, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And so you've always heard this story. You know what I mean? Oh, it's really amazing when somebody comes up to me and says that I've changed them. But when it actually probably happens to you, I can't tell you it's ever happened to me, but when it actually happens to you, I can only imagine that's got to be like so surreal, like so kind of mind blowing. Like you're in this moment and you're like
a strange deja vu.
Yeah,
wait
a minute. I'm the guy now on the other side.
Right, that's great. That really is.
Yeah, that's amazing. So anyway, so you're doing the Dark Seed thing.
Yeah.
Dark Seed fades out. You go into, you're like, hey, I gotta make some money. You go into the cover thing, not your thing. Get out.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
Coming back in now because
I wanted to go back to Europe again. You know, that was really the thing.
So it wasn't as much the love of music as and getting back into the scene. You're like, that's my path.
Yeah, I just wanted to do it again as an adult this time. You know,
Experience it in a different way.
And that's where I saw him. He had hooked up with Hellenbach.
Oh yeah.
And
well, actually, I joined some other bands before that.
Really?
Yeah, Vatican was the first one that came around, and I can remember being like 13 years old, hearing those dudes on Z-Rock on the radio. Remember that?
Right.
Z-Rock. Maximum rock and roll. Lock it in and rip the knob off.
You know, because that was my thing. If I'm gonna get back into bands, I didn't want to start at the bottom again. You know what I mean?
Right.
It might sound dickish, but I've done my time.
Well, no.
I've
Everybody's
paid
got
those
their
dues,
own
you
thing.
know
Yeah,
what I
right.
mean? Yeah, so I didn't want to start at the bottom again. So I ended up coming across an ad in some page or whatever that Vatican was looking for a guitar player. And I was like, wow, I remember those dudes when I was like 13 years old.
Right.
Sure would be cool to play with those, you know, those dudes. And so I called them up, did the audition, made the band and shit like that. I was in there for like a few months, I think. And I started like band hopping because I want to get to Europe as quickly as I can. You know what I mean? So I'm like band hopping.
Sounds like you found the right guy here. He says he goes to Europe.
Yeah, I did. You know, and the funny thing is about me being in this band at this point is because all the bands that I started going out for and being in was all bands that were signed to Pure Steel Records, which is a European label.
Yeah,
so I'm
was
thinking,
I helped
okay,
sign? So.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's right. That's what you work for them, right?
Saying.
Right.
I've reached pretty much as high as I can go.
Yeah, right. With Pure Steel, you're
You
at the top now.
Yeah, I've reached the highest I can go.
Yeah,
in
I
Cleveland
saw
with
him
getting
play,
there.
and you know, I remember Ed too from the Mystic days, and we've been friends, you know, and acquaintances, you know, through the
we
scene.
would chit chat.
Yeah, and then I saw him play. I was like, wow, he is still like ripping. And I was, you know, at that show where he played with Hellenbach. It was really, really great.
That was my coming back show. That's right. The Heart Attack night.
Oh, let's talk about that real quick. So you have a heart attack at the show.
At my first show in like
On
17
stage.
years.
That's right. This is your comeback show.
In like 17 years, yeah. Yeah.
Please talk about that for a second. Explain what happens there.
You know, I thought I was just out of shape.
Well, you kind of probably were too. That was probably part of it.
Might be a big part of it. Yeah, I just thought I was out of shape, and it was my nerves because it was my first show in 17 years, and yep, that wasn't it at all. I was literally having a full blown heart attack, man, and it went on for hours because it started like 4 o'clock that afternoon, you know. And I thought, oh, well, if I eat something, I'll feel better.
It feels like heartburn, really bad, horrible heartburn at the time in the beginning. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. And I just felt like very worn down, couldn't really catch my breath and shit like that. But I didn't think nothing of it, you know. As the night went on, it was getting worse, you know. And we did the show. I was in Hellenbach at the time. You know, it was my first show back and shit. I went, you know, when the show was over, I went from the stage right to my car. You know, I was so winded, I couldn't catch my breath and shit. And I just thought it was because of the show. That was it.
Right. You're just out of shape.
And then like 2 hours later, I'm still sitting in my car. And I didn't even know that much time had went by until somebody had said, you know, hey, you know, 2 hours went by. You're still sitting here. I ended up going to the hospital later that night. You know, I went home first still wasn't thinking nothing of it. And turns out, yeah, I was having a bad one. And actually, I had felt the same way like 6 days before that. I had another one, but I didn't go to the hospital. The only reason I know it was the same thing is
Same
because
symptoms.
it felt exactly the same. Like I thought, it literally feels like you're going to die. People say that it's a figure of speech.
Yeah,
but
right.
I know how that feels.
So then, does this make you have to take a break? Do you have to like take a hiatus now because of this? Or are you like, I'm just still going? The train just keeps going. How does that work?
I finished the show, and I didn't really take a break or anything, when I was, well enough to do things again. I was doing things again. Yeah.
So at this point now, after the heart attack with them, are they also still like, well, you're still our guy, Ed? I mean, I got to be honest with you. If I'm in your band at that point, I'm going to be like,
I don't think it was ever.
You're not going to get You're not going to get on our insurance program. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just kidding.
They waited it out. Like I said, it wasn't long at all.
Yeah,
a couple weeks or something.
You're fine, ready to go again.
Yeah, they even told me at the hospital, good as new.
Now, at this point in time, also, do you have a number of songs that you have already like in a bank that you kind of have written?
That was the thing, with me wanting to go back to Europe quickly, quick as I could. I was joining these bands and I was learning other people's stuff. I really wasn't into that, but I wanted to go to Europe, so I knew that's just because I did. My catalog is very large. I've often said that I've got more stuff in my catalog that I've forgotten about than most people have in their whole catalog.
Well, if you had 17 years to just sit in your house and record stuff,
right,
it's going to add up after that many all that time.
Mm-hmm.
But you've at this point you got a whole bunch of stuff saved up.
Yeah.
Right, and you want to record an album eventually on your own too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was going to be all instrumental, because I've done a few instrumental albums. And that was the after Hell and Back, I joined Sleep Lord for a minute, and I was in that band. Another
band I signed.
Pure Steel
band, right? And one day I called up Juan to see about a distribution deal for this album, this other instrumental album I want to put out, and I sent him a 10-song demo of the stuff that I want to, that would be on the album, and he's like, yeah, we could do something.
Yeah,
with
I
that.
mean, he sent it to me, and of course, I said, wow, this is the original guitar player part of Mystic, and of course, in Europe, that's oh wow, let's definitely check it out.
Yeah,
what I mean? But it was, he had all this material, and you could hear this amazing guitar player, and the label's like, yeah, but it's all different recordings and stuff, like everything would have to be recording. And they were like, we don't know. I don't know. We can't release this stuff. You'd have to start literally from scratch and record everything over. It goes, but they were like, I had released Doppelganger, and we toured for months on that album with, that band, and we had split up, and I still had Sunless, but the label's like, well, yes, and we may not be able to release this right now, but I don't know. Aren't you looking for a guitar player? And that was like,
oh yeah,
like,
ding.
I was like, wow. And I called Ed up and was like, we want to do something.
And I knew I wasn't going to be going to Europe on instrumentals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. We want to do something. I go, Ed, I have a proposition for you. You have all this incredible music. We can't release this. It looks like at first, unless we do a lot of literally starting from scratch and recording stuff. Would you be interested in doing a band with me and doing your music? And that was something that was like, for me, it was like, when I seen Ed play, to me it was like, here's a person that had been around for a long time and was completely like forgotten. You know what I mean? This incredible player that really the world didn't really know.
Didn't get a chance to really see
the way
you thought was proper.
Yeah, and when I said, you're as good as anyone I've ever heard, and there's no, you're not a household name. You should be at least like in the metal community, like, people know who you are. And he was like, that sort of like said, and I want it to be your music. And it's like
A lot
He
to
sent
pull
me
from.
like.
Well, that's just the thing with that. He's not
This would be
just
like 25, enough for like 2 albums.
yeah, and the thing with Ed is it's not just that he's a virtuoso. It's that he writes he's got a lot of good written stuff.
So what I did is basically said, okay, obviously a lot of the music came from his band Darkseed, and that's how that connection sort of come together. And I said, well, I don't want to do Darkseed songs as new Sunless Sky songs. Would you mind if I take the basics of all these different songs and all these great parts and basically rearrange them into new songs with new parts and new vocals, but still it's all your guitar parts. And that's the basis for this new Sunless Sky album, is all his incredible riffs and all his music, and they're arranged into new songs with vocals and bass parts. And
Yeah, I had the privilege of hearing the whole album. It's great. It's great. It is. It simply is great.
And the thing that's really important about it too, it's a band that the focus of it is
the
guitar player.
It is, but your vocals still shine through. And let me just say something about that real quick. We went and saw you guys at Sly Fox.
Yes.
And so here's my take on that. First of all, the sound was awesome. You guys sounded, and to me that's hard to do with the way the guitars were definitely. Definitely present, and then the drums are definitely present, but somehow you cut right through like nothing. and the thing that's so cool about you guys, one of the dynamics I like is if you hear the Sunless Sky stuff and you hear your vocals on it, there's absolutely not a chance in hell I can think of a band who has that style of vocal and is holding an instrument. A guy who sings like that every time is the lead singer and the front man, and that's what he does. So when you see a 3-piece walk out there and you're holding the bass and you're playing the song, if I haven't seen you before and all of a sudden you start singing like that. Just like I did not expect. I expected it. I knew it was coming, but I could tell that, and it gives you so much freedom, dude. You have that whole side. You have the middle. You're walking around. You're coming up top. It's an amazing time. It's so entertaining to watch you guys play.
Oh, that's great. We have a great time. We do so much fun. So it's just
I think maybe a lot of the reason why that is what you were talking about is because when I agreed to hook up with Juan, I said to him right off the bat, which is the same thing I said to Sleep Lord too. I'm like, what I'm about, because it's all dudes that I've known for since I've been a teenager.
Right.
I'm like, what you're getting. I'm an over-the-top guitar player.
And I'm like, man,
you don't hold back.
You
man.
cannot overplay when it comes to me. Just man, I want you to.
I'll
just
put fills where
thing.
they don't even belong. You know what I mean? As long as everybody knows what they're getting when I get there.
No, it's real. It's real.
And he was, from the beginning, he was like, yeah, I know what I'm getting. Do your, you be you. That was exactly what he
Let
told
your freak
me.
flag fly.
Let your freak flag.
One of the things that you have also going at the same time as the Sunless Sky thing is a
Right,
Dark Arena
right.
situation where you're actually, this is a band that now this isn't something brand new for you. You've actually been a part of this for a while.
No, the band formed back in 1996 as
Okay.
Arena, and then changed its name to Dark Arena. And me and Tall Paul basically had different
Now, who's Tall Paul?
Tall Paul is Paul Kunitsia, and he was the founder with myself of Dark Arena, and he was the songwriter. And we met when he was just 15 years old. I was still in Attacks, and I was doing shows with Chastain. We had a mini tour going, opening up for Chastain with Leather. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know who Chastain is.
And Tall Paul was in the audience. And I walked up, and this guy walked up to me. He's like 15. He was already like a foot taller than me. I'm, scaring my hand to look up. He walked up and he goes, like, not hi or hello, I want to meet you, or you did great. He walked up to me and goes, you're going to be my singer someday, just like that. And that's, if people know who Tall Paul is and know his personality, that is Tall Paul. Like, just like, you're going to be just like that. And I went, okay. He was like, all right. Hey, man, all right.
Right.
And it's, as things would happen, that really happened. Years later, after Ritual had broken up and I'd done a few of the bands, I did some session work at some point. I met Paul at an air show and said, hey, do you really want to do a band together? And it did. And we formed Arena, which eventually became Dark Arena. And over the years, for about, like I said, about close to from 1996 to 2006, the band was, together doing albums, but literally only released a few demos and about 4 albums and did it completely independently. Paul was really wary of record labels. He'd seen other bands that got signed, that got dropped or made no money, and just didn't, he just was very independent. And that struggled. So Dark Arena was around for that long and really completely underground, completely unknown. And then when I got signed to Pure Steel with, Sunless Sky, I would tell Paul, man, he's like, Paul, I'm being treated great. That's like family. I'm being, I have records going all over the world, interviews, from Japan to Poland to Germany to Russia, you name it. I'm just, all over. I mean, you really should really think this. And in 2017, he decided, you know what? Let's do this. Let's make a new Dark Arena album and sign to Pure Steel. And so he signed to Pure Steel. And at that point, of course, I was an A&R rep, so I really was.
Yeah, you're the A&R rep for Pure Steel at this point, all right?
And I'm like, you should really sign with Pure Steel. And so we signed the album. We recorded the album. The album was called Worlds of Horror. And in 2019, he passed away before the album was released. Because what happened was the album was done, but the label decided, you know what? But since the album is still in the middle of recording, we released the first album. So in 2019, our first album, which is called Alien Factor, was released. And it just blew up, and everybody's like, and the crazy thing was, and when it hit, people were like, and all the Europeans were like, these magazines that were like, oh my God, how is it that we did not hear this when it came out? How is it that this amazing band was making this music?
Right.
And it was Paul's music. And it was like, I even told Paul at the time, very similar to I told Ed, I go, Paul, you're doing all this music and no one knows who you are. And like, Ed, man, you're really not unknown. You should be known. And so this is part of that process. And after the album came out, the album was done, and it wasn't even mixed yet. It was just basically recorded, and Paul passed away of a heart attack.
Ugh.
And so really Dark Arena is I'm doing all this in his memory, and it's all about people, and it's about being good to people, and that's why I'm in the A&R business and helping people. I love helping bands, up and coming bands. I want to see people do where I've been.
So that's what Dark Arena is right now, though. You're just promoting the album. It's not so much you're going to go on tour as a thing,
right.
because this is just a memory of Paul.
It's a studio album. So the album came out this past year, and it got voted one of the top 25 albums of 2021.
Yeah, I just saw that. Excellent. That's excellent.
It's amazing, and it's and this is music he's had and just never got released, and just it's coming out there, and people are like, wow, really appreciating it, like, wow, this is so great. How was it we never knew about this band? Or so, and that leads us back to Sunless Sky, because as it turns out, while all those configurations of Dark Arena, guess who was one of the guitar players in Dark Arena?
Yeah, that's right.
For a minute.
Right, so you are a part of that, and that brings you to light. And then, so basically what happened with this new album that you guys have written too is this was like you said before, this was a lot of your music that has been now taken and rearranged into these songs that are now the Sunless Sky songs.
Mm-hmm. They're basically the same, just like we might lengthen a part here.
Right, it's just about right
here.
Slight arrangement
take this part over here.
Right.
Or,
just to create another verse if you needed one or something like that.
It's really an exciting process, because he had such strong ideas, and I have these really strong ideas about arranging and vocals and choruses, and so making these really catchy ideas.
Yeah,
and
there's
vocals,
a lot of those,
and it just invigorates me, because I've been singing for all these years, and then playing bass and singing is just I want it to be I'm so excited about it.
It's a very exciting album.
It is.
And like Ed has a tendency to where a lot of breakdowns in your songs, and you do not hang out on one rhythm for like it's not like you're going to hang around on this one rhythm and just drone it out forever. There's a change. There's going to be another change. This one's going to sound different than that one. There's so much thought that goes into everything. And
I took 3 months.
Yeah, a lot of layering of guitars.
It's guitar tracks.
It's a huge monster guitar album.
Yeah. I mean, that's the really point of it. And the album's now, it's mixed, mastered.
I can't wait to hear it
at the
now.
record label, ready. The only thing it does not have is a cover.
Ooh.
So this is where we come to.
Man.
We're going to announce the promotion for the album. Now that we've already recorded 2 videos, one for the song In Memoriam, which is going to be the initial single, and the song Indignation, and we're talking about full-blown videos with, drones and the whole...
Nice.
I mean, talking about... But beyond that, so the album, once it gets to the record label, we're talking about 4 months before it's going to actually get,
out to the public.
Right, so we're talking April and May, but...
So we got these 3 pictures.
So we have 3 members of the band now. It started as a 5-piece, then it became a 4-piece, and the Doppelganger, and so now is for this new album called Prelude to Madness.
That's what it's called.
Prelude to Madness.
I love it.
There's 3 members. So what we did is each member has commissioned their own cover. Completely separate of the others.
Oh, this isn't competitive at all.
No. Each member has commissioned their own cover. So the covers look with nobody else.
No influence. You don't know what his looks like.
We all know what they look like.
While you're doing it though, or after?
They're actually done.
Okay. So in supports.
But when we put all 3 of them out there, nobody's going to know.
Right. We don't want people to know.
Everybody will probably know whose mine is.
We don't want people to know whose covers there are. Okay. We have 3 covers. Each commissioned their own. So each person didn't say, hey, I want you to change your cover to look like this, or I want you. It's each member made their own cover the way we want the Sunless Sky, Prelude to Madness.
3 totally different
completely
styles.
Different covers.
Yeah.
what we're going to do is put it out on Facebook, social media, Instagram, the Pure Steel website, and have the fans
Tell you
of the
who's-
world pick the Sunless Sky album.
No kidding. Now, when they look at the 3 albums and they see the one that's got Ed playing guitar on it, should they know?
Now, don't get me
Well,
wrong.
they then know,
I think that people, without having the names over the top or underneath, will go, okay,
That's cool, though. No,
okay,
that's cool.
this has to be Juan's cover. That has to be Ed. That has to be Yule's cover.
I'm a cemetery guy, so
Okay,
it's
so-
a dead
Oh,
giveaway.
the clue.
I mean, people are going to pretty much obviously know, I think, by looking at the covers and knowing,
I think it's an interesting idea. Yeah.
It's to have, either way, we can't lose because we love all 3 covers. And whoever's the winner is the winner. And it won't be by our choice. It'll be by the fans' choice. And let the world decide what is going to be the Sunless Sky cover.
Now,
and that also brings it up where everybody's going to go, okay, who's Sunless Sky? If you don't already know, I mean, Sunless Sky, we've actually been in a reality TV shows. I mean, it's
Well,
all
no.
that, but
There's
just in
definitely
case
a lot
you
out
don't,
there,
But
yeah.
in case you don't know, and if this comes up and it comes up, hey, pick. So hey, that's something different. I don't heard of any band doing that.
No. It's a great idea. Well,
Yeah, so-
and anytime you can get a kind of interaction going on.
Right. Talk. Right.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So you're going to be able to just do this as far as you're going to have like a voting set up on Facebook, and it'll just be like people can comment and
Yeah,
and do
can
it that
comment
way.
or just say
And you guys
I
will
like
just decide, tally it up.
Yeah, right. And there'll also be on the Pure Steel site, and everybody can vote, and it's just
Will there be a winner? So like, will the other 2 have to buy the winner dinner? Something where you guys like have some kind of like.
Well, I think what we're going to do is, basically we're going to use all 3 covers in some way. There's going to be the winner that's going to be the cover. One of the covers might end up as the back cover, or one of them is going to end up on a T-shirt, or, you know what I mean? Or
Sure.
they're going to be on the inside, the layout.
Or release
of the
3 different versions.
Or
and
right,
have-
you never know. You never know, but but there's going to be a winner cover picked by the fans of Sunless Sky and by the metal fans. Anybody can just pick and go, oh, I'll pick number 1 or number A or
Excellent.
Yeah, so
That'll be cool.
yeah. So.
And then I've heard this album, so whatever the cover is or whatever, the material inside of it is
Thank you.
it's
Thank
great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be I truly think that you think if Dark Arena was considered one of the best albums, I got a feeling this one.
I hope so.
I got a
think so,
feeling
too. I think so too.
it's awesome. All right, well let's just wrap it up there. Well, Greg, something else to say?
You
Go
know
ahead,
what?
please.
With these tunes and this album and the title and everything, the funny thing is, like I said, me doing this again was just to strictly, really, I just wanted to go back to Europe once. I didn't even want to, all the shows that I've done in the past, 4 years, I didn't plan on doing those either,
And here he is.
And these tunes and this album and stuff, technically this is all stuff that was written really just from 93 to 98,
Stuff from decades ago, not just from
right,
two,
which was
20
actually
years.
right after Mystic, you know what I mean? So when I quit that band, I figured, I'll just do up another band and I'll go back to Europe, but things changed. It wasn't like that anymore.
Maybe not. It just took 20 years.
Yeah,
And then these
it's not.
songs
It's
just
not as
kept
easy as you would think.
evolving.
It really is, and that's true with any anything in this music. If any you get that chance, the windows are so small, and you have to take that opportunity and really go for it because it seems obvious.
Yeah,
but
at
it's
the time it doesn't seem like that.
right.
But here's the funny part. I've had these songs for so long, and like I said, they were the ones that I planned on going to Germany with back in the '90s, and
Correct, yeah.
they've stuck with me. They've evolved and stuff like that. And then with me getting back into bands, wanting to go back to Europe again in 2016, I was playing other people's music, and now here it is. This album's being released on a
In 2022.
in 2022, yeah, being released on a European label. And it's called Prelude to Madness.
Yeah.
From looking from way back, Indeed, this
Wild.
is a strange.
Full circle, like a weird circle. Yeah.
It's a strange.
It's weird how
journey in
sometimes
this
it takes so
plane.
long for something to actually come to fruition from the time it was conceived.
Right.
Weird.
Right.
Well, I hope this does really well. I think it will. I can't see that this album doesn't do well.
Thank
We'll
you.
see. I guess we'll see.
Thank you.
But I think it's going to do well. And definitely, if you can see these guys live, they're great. It's a great show. All right, everybody. We're going to wrap it up there. Sunless Sky.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Level up. We're out.
It's time we say goodbye to this long dark time. Say goodbye to the one
That'll be fine.